motion to summon the chairman and commissioners of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission RSIEC to appear for the House. Mr. Speaker, you will recall that last year, when the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission proposed to conduct elections, this House, via a resolution, wrote to the Commission advising the Commission of the risk of carrying out an election that is not in consonance with the Electoral Act. Mr. Speaker, sadly, Chairman and members of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission ignored the invitation and warnings of this House and went ahead to conduct an election which we can now describe as ill-fated. Mr. Speaker, we are aware of the recent Supreme Court's judgments which annulled that election, which has washed almost 4 billion naira of taxpayers' money down the drain. Mr. Speaker, also recall that just on Monday, this House sat and seeing the issues, seeing the pitfalls, resolved that immediately the laws governing elections in Rivers State through the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission should be really amended to align with the Electoral Act so that such dangerous occurrence does not happen again, so that we do not keep wasting taxpayers' money. Mr. Speaker, recall that the reason why the Supreme Court annulled that election was because it was not in consonance with the Electoral Act. This House came here and agreed that we should immediately amend the law to be in consonance with the Electoral Act. Mr. Speaker, it will sadden you and break your heart to know that just a few days ago, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission has gone ahead to announce that they are beginning the process to conduct another election. The issues that put us in this quagmire have not been resolved. The problem has not been cured. Our laws are still not in consonance with the Electoral Act. Does it mean that we want to again wash down almost 4 billion naira again? Funds that we will use to build schools, to build hospitals, to make Rivers people happy. Mr. Speaker, this House cannot sit and allow such wastage of public funds. We cannot sit and watch such misappropriation of unappropriated funds. That is why I'm bringing this motion, Mr. Speaker, with the following prayers. Just two prayers, Mr. Speaker. Prayer one, that this House immediately summon the chairman and commissioners of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission to appear before the House to provide explanations about the Commission's actions and unappropriated explanations. Mr. Speaker, prayer two, and any other action that this House will consider appropriate in this circumstance. By your kind leave, Mr. Speaker, may I lay this motion at the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Any second?
This House of Assembly definitely stands as one of the most vibrant, dedicated and focused State House of Assembly in West Africa, because we're actually doing what we're supposed to do, ensuring that the laws of the land are obeyed. Distinguished colleagues, that said, it's important to begin my remarks by re-echoing provisions of Section 195, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Distinguished colleagues, this particular section says that there shall be an Attorney General for each state who shall be the Chief Law Officer of the state and Commissioner for Justice of the government of that state. Distinguished colleagues, Section 192, subsection 2 has clearly stated that all nominees, Section 192, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, states that all nominees for appointment as commissioners into the Rivers State Executive Council shall be confirmed by the State House of Assembly, which is this assembly. Distinguished colleagues, the governor of this state, who is now the nationally acclaimed dictator of our time, going by the judgment of the Supreme Court and other pronouncements of other courts, is still harboring this impostor who is parading himself as the Attorney General of Rivers State. This individual is moving from one court to the other, claiming to be the Chief Law Officer of Rivers State, whereas he is not. He is not known to law. He is misleading the public, misleading Rivers people. He is receiving funds and spending funds. He is issuing press statements deriding the State House of Assembly day by day as an impostor. The most dangerous aspect of our problem today is that when you don't have the Chief Law Officer as enshrined in Section 195 of our Constitution, when you don't have a legitimate Attorney General who should stand in for the state government, who should be in charge of legal matters, it portends great danger for our dear states. And this 10th Assembly must rise up to the occasion. We need to call on all the courts of our federation, the magistrate courts, the high courts of the states, federal high courts, the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court, to know that Rivers State does not have an Attorney General. Rivers State does not have an Attorney General. Those doing business in Rivers State, those dealing with this individual, Mr. Iboroma Dagogo, should know that they are doing so at their own risk. All those who the governor is still parading in the State Executive Council as commissioners, who were never screened or confirmed by this assembly pursuant to Section 192, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution, are not commissioners of Rivers State. They are mere impostors, and Rivers people and indeed Nigerians should beware of these individuals. They are defrauding the states. They are spending resources of the states in a criminal manner, and they are liable to criminal prosecution. This house must rise up to the occasion and defend Rivers people. The malfeasance in this government by this governor has gone to the point where we must not allow him to continue. We represent our people. We have their mandates. They have nowhere else to run to but to this assembly. And that is why we must insist that the right thing be done. On this note, distinguished colleagues, having collected your views, let me say that there is need to forward a letter in line with this motion to the governor, drawing his attention to these anomalies, to these infractions on our Constitution, and asking the governor to do the needful, to do the right thing, by stop parading these impostors, these individuals, whose names will be mentioned in our resolution and forwarded to the governor. As at the last count, there are 19 of them. There are 19 of them, these impostors, in the State Executive Council, including the fake Attorney General, Mr. Iboroma Dagogo. So we will ensure that this letter gets to the governor, and we hope that the governor, flowing from the judgment of the Supreme Court, will take a hint from this assembly and do the right thing and not listen to those who they are paying from other states, moving from one radio station, from one TV station, and talking to themselves. Certainly they are not talking to Rivers people, because Rivers people know where we are going. So this letter has to be sent to the governor immediately. And we will give the governor 48 hours to immediately forward a list of nominees for appointment into the Rivers State Executive Council as commissioners. All these 19 impostors are directed by this assembly to stop parading themselves. If they continue to do so, we will have no choice to invoke our powers as vested in us by the Constitution to order for their arrest, because they are criminals in the eyes of the law. Distinguished colleagues, I thank you for your contribution. From 1st January 2024 to date, but this commission has gone ahead on a spending spree, spending billions of taxpayers' money on their own. The governor has been releasing money to them without an appropriation, without approval. As it stands today, the Rivers House of Assembly does not know the amount of money that has been sent to this commission, or what they spent, or what they spend the money on. They are just freelancers. And as at the last time I checked the records, the chairman of this commission is a retired judge of the Rivers High Court. And we believe that he is supposed to know more about laws of Rivers State and the Constitution. Sadly enough, he's acting in a manner that calls for serious scrutiny. We must scrutinize what is going on in this commission. And while the House just sat on Monday to begin to deliberate on how to commence the amendment of the Rivers State Local Government Law and the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission Law, so that these two laws can be in tandem with the Electoral Act. We serve the resolution to the governor and to the commission chairman. It's published in national dailies. Everybody is aware. And the response this chairman can do is to summon a meeting today to commence the process, neglecting the position of this House that there is need for us to review our laws so that they can be in tandem with the Electoral Act, so that all that were problems that made the Supreme Court to nullify the election will not happen again. We think that this commission chairman and his commissioners and members are out to bring Rivers State to disrepute. We have turned out to be a laughingstock in the Committee of States, that elections will be conducted and nullified by the Supreme Court. The same thing they did before, they have started again. Honorable members, I want to thank the mover of this motion and members for their contributions, and to say that the prayers of this particular motion are germane, and there is need for us to go by the prayers, particularly the prayer that is calling on this House to invite the chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission and his commissioners to appear before this August Assembly, so that they can explain to the House how they went about an election that was finally nullified by the Supreme Court, where they got funds, who approved funds for them to spend, and who has approved funds for them to spend again for the next election they are planning to conduct without this assembly, without asking for approval for funds. They need to come and explain to us, explain to Rivers people. Fair hearing is important, and we must give them that opportunity. And that is why that particular prayer is the key prayer, and I think we need to adopt that prayer, which is to invite them. The mover of the motion did not specify a date, or did you do so? But I think on Friday, 7th of March, 2 days from now, which is 48 hours from now, will be sufficient. So when the commission chairman and the commissioners are before us, they should be able to tell us what they are doing. They didn't appoint themselves there. They are not serving themselves. They are not bigger than the Constitution and the laws of Rivers State. They must be subjected to our Constitution and to our laws. And so they must appear before the Rivers people and explain what they are doing, what they have done with our funds, and what they are planning to do with our funds. And I think Friday must be the best date for now, so that we can ask the clerk of the House to immediately forward a letter of invitation to the chairman to come with all the commissioners and all relevant documents that will show us how they got funds for the last election that they threw away to the wind, and what really transpired last year about the 5th October 2024 local government elections that has now been nullified by the apex courts in the land. So those in favor of the prayers as moved by Honorable Enemy Alabo George and amended to include that they appear before this House on the 7th of March 2025 should indicate by raising their hands. Distinguished colleagues, those for 25, against nil, abstention nil. By this voting, honorable members, this House has therefore resolved that the clerk of the House should immediately forward a letter to the chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission asking him to appear before this August Assembly on Friday, the 7th of March 2025 at 10 a.m. to answer questions pertaining to their conduct in office, to explain to this August Assembly how they have been spending funds belonging to these states without approval of this August Assembly, what they did with the funds given to them in the year 2024, which they spent in the ill-fated 5th October 2024 local government elections, and why they are still spending funds in the year 2025 without an appropriation law, and planning to conduct another election without approval, without any budget. So this is the position of the House, and when the chairman and the commissioners appear before us, we will know the next step to take. And by resolution of this House, the clerk will include in the letter that if the chairman and the commissioners fail to appear before this August Assembly, the House will be left with no other option but to invoke its powers vested in us in Section 129 of the 1999 Constitution to issue a warrant of arrest to compel them to appear before this August Assembly. Thank you.